9 days after the funeral, the snow-white mare, Luz, still refused every bucket of grain, every flake of hay. Her ribs showed through her coat, and she stared at nothing. The veterinarian had warned that, without food, her organs would begin to fail by the end of the day.
If she doesn't eat by sunset, I can't save her. You need to make a decision.
Lucia tried again, holding a bucket of fresh apples under the mare's nose. Luz turned her head away, as if the smell pained her.
She's just a horse. Carolyn is gone. We can't let sentimentality bleed the estate dry.
I agree. Every day we wait, the vet charges more, and the horse gets weaker. Put her down tonight.
Finally, someone's speaking sense. I'll call the blacksmith now.
The three cousins exchanged a look of cold agreement. Sunset was the deadline. As the afternoon light softened to gold, Luz lifted her heavy head and turned it toward the iron gate, as though waiting. The gate stood empty, silhouetted against the dying sun. No one had come 14 days earlier. Heiress Carolyn lay in her canopy bed, her skin as pale as the sheets. Only the housekeeper, Lucia, remained at her side.
Dunya Caroline, please. The doctor is on his way. You must hold on.
Carolyn pressed the locket into Lucia's palm. Her lips moved with a whisper meant only for her. At the funeral, 3 days later, the white mare Luz pulled against her handler's rope, trying to follow the coffin into the earth. After the burial, in the black draped stable, Luz stood motionless and refused the first offering of grain. Lucia whispered promises and held out fresh hay, but the mare only stared past her, toward the iron gate, her dark eyes fixed on that empty gate, as if waiting for a ghost to walk through. By the 4th day, the veterinarian was called. Dr. Valdez examined the skeletal mare and shook her head.
She's not sick. This is grief. But if she doesn't eat, her organs will shut down within days.
The days blurred. Each morning, another crossed-out date on the calendar, and Luz grew thinner. On the 2nd day, Padre Tomas arrived, his black cassock trailing through the straw. He carried a rosary and a small bottle of holy water.
By the grace of God, I bless this creature. May her sorrow be lifted.
The mare did not lift her head. The holy water dripped unnoticed from her mane.
This isn't a sickness of the body. It's a sickness of the heart. I cannot heal it.
Dr. Valdez attempted force-feeding, but Luz clamped her jaw and threw her head. The feeding tube clattered to the floor.
She'll starve before she submits. We have to find out what she wants.
In the study, the three cousins spread the estate ledgers across the table.
The estate is worth more than I thought. Once the horse is gone, we can sell without complications.
I've already been contacted by a real estate agent. The land alone could fetch millions.
And still, Luz waited, her dark eyes fixed on the empty gate as the sun set on the 3rd day. By the 4th day, Luz could no longer stand. She lay in the straw, her breaths shallow and slow. A village child crept to the stable bars and pushed a red apple through, but the mare only closed her eyes. The child's mother pulled them away, crossing herself. Dr. Valdez pressed the stethoscope to Luz's bony chest and paled.
Her kidneys are shutting down. If she doesn't eat by tomorrow, there's nothing I can do.
In the salon, the cousins heard the verdict. Roberto slammed his fist on the mahogany table.
We should end it now. Why prolong her suffering? It's cruelty.
Patience. If she dies on her own, there will be no questions from the authorities.
Fine, but I give it 1 more day. If she's still breathing tomorrow at sunset, we take matters into our own hands.
And so, Luz lay facing the iron gate, her breath a faint rattle, waiting for someone who had not yet come. On the 9th morning, the circled date on the calendar stared back at Lucia like a countdown to an execution. She knelt beside the mare with a plate of sliced apples and spoke, her voice cracking.
Just 1 bite, mi vida. For Carolyn. For her memory.
Luz only blinked, her nostrils flaring at the scent, then turned her face toward the wall. From the courtyard came the clang of a blacksmith's hammer on iron. The blacksmith, a man used to shoeing horses, had been ordered to prepare the killing tool. His hands trembled as he worked.
Finish it before the sun touches the horizon. I want it done clean.
The blacksmith nodded, his jaw tight. and returned to his grim task.
God forgive them, and God forgive me for not being able to stop this.
As if answering that prayer, Luz lifted her heavy head. Her ears pricked forward, and she stared once more at the empty gate. But the gate remained empty, the dust untouched. With a soft exhalation, she lowered her head again, and the shadows lengthened towards sunset. Just past midday, a small figure appeared on the dusty road, walking barefoot toward the iron gates. His torn red poncho and rolled parchment marked him as a stranger, but his gaze was steady and calm. Lucia, returning from the well, stopped. No visitor had come since the funeral. The boy pushed open the gate and stepped into the courtyard as if he belonged there.
This horse belongs to my father. I've come to take her home.
Your father. Child, who are you?
From the salon window, Vicente narrowed his eyes and motioned to Roberto and Mariana.
A beggar at the gate? Throw him out before he steals something.
He carries a document. I'll take him to the stable. Please, let him see the mare.
She led the boy past the three cousins, who followed at a distance, their suspicion hardening into something colder. As Justin stepped into the black-draped stable, Luz lifted her heavy head and turned toward him.
Luz, it's me, Justin. I've come to take you home.
He took an apple slice from Lucia's trembling hand and extended his open palm toward the skeletal mare. Luz's muzzle touched his skin. She took the fruit and chewed. The first food in 9 days. Lucia sobbed into her apron. The cousins stood rigid in the doorway, their faces white with shock.
This is impossible. She wouldn't eat for anyone. How did you do it?
I am Justin. Carolyn and Nicholas were married 14 years ago. This scroll proves it.
A marriage scroll? That's a forgery. You are just a street orphan trying to steal.
A clever trick, boy, but the law won't be so easily fooled. Put down that paper.
But Luz, still chewing the apple, nuzzled the boy's shoulder. The mare had already decided who her true master was. Before Justin could pull the scroll back, Roberto snatched it from his fingers and held it high, out of reach.
You think we are fools? I will have you in chains for fraud before sunset, boy.
The horse knows. She knew my father. Ask her. She will not lie.
Lucia stepped forward, her voice cracking with long-buried memory. She spoke of Nicholas, the gentle, stable hand.
Nicholas was kind. He and Carolyn were wed in secret. I saw them together, and I saw her cry when he died. This horse was her wedding gift to him. Luz has been waiting for the boy all these 9 days.
Enough of this. You expect us to believe a fairy tale? This is a con, and I will not let it stand.
There is only one way. Send for the local magistrate. He will examine the seal and expose this fraud.
The cousins exchanged a look of cold certainty. They were sure the magistrate would side with them. A servant was sent to the village. The scroll would now be judged not by loyalty or grief, but by the cold letter of the law. The magistrate arrived within the hour. A lean man with spectacles that caught the light like knives. He set up a makeshift desk in the grand salon, candles flickering on the dark wood. Justin stood by the window, his arms crossed. The three cousins clustered near the door, their confidence sharp and loud. The magistrate unrolled the yellowed parchment and slid a magnifying lens over the wax seal. His lips moved in silence. After a long moment, he tapped the parchment with his finger. The seal was authentic, but the date script was unfamiliar. It could be an older notation, or it could be a clever forgery. He would need to verify with the Capitol Archives before ruling.
Archives? How convenient. While we wait, the boy could flee or fabricate more evidence.
Lock him up until then. We can't trust a street rat.
I am not running. This scroll is from my mother. Her own hand signed it.
The magistrate looked at the boy, then at the cousins. He folded his hands and set the scroll aside. He announced he would send a rider to the capital tonight. Until then, no one could leave the hacienda. His words fell like a heavy gate closing. From his worn satchel, Justin drew a bundle of letters tied with a faded blue ribbon. The paper yellowed, but the handwriting elegant.
These are from my mother. She wrote to me about my father, about this horse, about their secret marriage.
The magistrate motioned for him to read one aloud. Justin's voice steadied as he broke the seal of his mother's final letter.
My beloved son Justin, by the time you read this, I may already be gone. Know that I loved your father deeply. You are the true heir. Go to the hacienda with the marriage scroll and claim what is rightfully yours.
Pretty words, but anyone could write a letter. This proves nothing. It could be a complete fabrication.
Sentimental fiction. Where is the proof, boy? Real proof, not bedtime stories.
The magistrate removed his spectacles and rubbed his eyes. The words carried emotional weight, but the law demanded more than a mother's love on paper.
You see, magistrate? The boy has only stories. This is a waste of the law's time.
Justin slid the letters back into his satchel, the weight of needing something stronger pressing on his chest. The three cousins murmured to each other, their heads bent close. Then Vicente pulled Justin aside near the shuttered window.
Take the horse and go, boy. We won't press charges. Walk away rich in mule and saddle.
I didn't come for a bribe. I came for my father's name and my mother's land.
Then you'll leave in chains, orphan. The magistrate will never believe you.
Before Justin could answer, the salon doors burst open. Lucia rushed in, clutching a battered tin box to her chest.
I found this under a loose floorboard in Carolyn's room. It's another scroll with the same wax seal.
She lifted the lid. Inside lay a second notarized marriage record, its parchment identical to the first. Justin unrolled the duplicate, holding it high for the magistrate to see. The signatures matched, and the notary stamp was unmistakable.
This is a trick. She planted that box to save the boy. The old woman is in on the fraud.
The magistrate took both scrolls and held them under the lamp. The seals, the paper, the handwriting, they were the same. The magistrate held the two scrolls side by side under the magnifying lens, tracing the identical loops of the notary stamp. He set them down and removed his spectacles. His voice was careful but firm. The documents appeared genuine, the marriage likely valid.
Likely. That is not a ruling. You cannot saddle us with doubt while a street child steals our inheritance.
Before the magistrate could answer, Roberto lunged across the desk, his fingers closing around one of the scrolls. Justin caught the other scroll and pressed it to his chest, but Lucia threw herself in front of Roberto, her arms spread wide.
Get those papers. Rip them up. They are worth less than the lies they carry.
The salon erupted. A lamp crashed to the floor, and a chair splintered as Vicente shoved past the magistrate to reach Justin. The room filled with grunts and curses.
Stop! You are going to destroy the only proof.
The magistrate's aides rushed in and pulled Roberto back by the shoulders, while Vicente was pinned against the wall by a servant. The scrolls remained intact, but barely. Breathing hard, the three cousins glared from the grip of the law, their faces twisted in rage. Nothing was settled yet, but the documents had survived. The cousins straightened their clothes, their breathing slowing. Vicente slipped a hand inside his jacket and produced a folded parchment.
You want documents, boy? Here's Carolyn's true last will, signed 6 months ago. It leaves everything to us.
Justin's face drained of color as the magistrate took the paper. A second will, dated half a year after the marriage scroll. The magistrate unfolded the crisp parchment and ran his thumb over the ink. Carolyn's signature curved across the bottom, identical to the one on the letters. He laid it beside the marriage records. The dates, the seal, the hand, all seemed plausible. A shadow of doubt crept into his expression.
That will is a lie. My mother never wrote that. She was sending me money every month, planning my 13th birthday.
Plans change, orphan. She saw you for the mistake you were and fixed it. This will is legal.
The magistrate held up a hand for silence. His gaze shifted from the boy to the cousins and back to the conflicting papers.
They've planned this. I need to find more proof before they poison the magistrate completely.
In the confusion, Justin slipped toward the salon door, his mother's final letter echoing in his mind, pushing him toward her locked bedroom. He slipped through the dark corridor, past the old family portraits, until he stood before Carolyn's silent door. The lock turned with a soft click under the key Lucia had pressed into his hand. The door swung inward. The room smelled of dried lavender and old grief. He saw the jewelry box on the dresser, exactly where she had described.
She told me there was a false bottom, something no one else would find.
He lifted the velvet lining, his fingers searching until they found a hidden catch in a wooden panel, slid aside. Inside lay a leather-bound diary and a third marriage scroll, their edges crisp and untouched by time.
She left this for me, the diary, another scroll. Proof they can't argue with.
He tucked the treasures into his satchel and turned from the dresser, his feet already moving toward the salon. The magistrate's voice cut through the corridor, rising over the cousins' sharp protests. Time was nearly gone. He burst back into the salon, the diary and scroll held high, and every voice in the room died. He placed the leather diary in the magistrate's hands and let the scroll unfurl beside the others. Today, Nicholas and I were wed in secret, before God and our own love. Only Luz and Lucia know the truth. The magistrate turned the pages, his voice barely a whisper as entry after entry confirmed 14 years of a hidden life. Then he lifted the forged will and pressed a magnifying lens to its surface. The ink had not aged. The paper was wrong. This document was written within the month. It cannot be Carolyn's will. Roberto lunged anew, but Vicente held him back, his cool facade cracking. Mariana's wine glass shattered on the floor. The magistrate ordered the servant who had witnessed the will to step forward. The man trembled and blurted that he had been paid. The cousins' faces turned ashen as their scheme collapsed. Justin stood still, the truth finally landing on all of them. The magistrate removed his spectacles and announced he would recess until sunrise to review all evidence and deliver a final ruling. No one left the room. The cousins were trapped by their own lies, and Justin waited. The diary pressed to his heart, but the night was not finished. Roberto broke free from Vicente's hold and lunged at Justin, his fingers lunging for the diary.
Give me that book, you street rat. I'll rip out every page.
Lucia threw herself between them, her small frame colliding with Roberto and sending him stumbling backward.
You will not touch him again. Not while I still breathe.
The magistrate's aide seized Roberto by the arms, and a servant pinned Vicente against the wall. Mariana shoved the desk, sending papers flying. The magistrate, his face stone, gestured to the guards. All three cousins were placed under arrest for the attempted destruction of legal evidence.
You'll regret this, old man. We have friends in the capital.
Justin watched them being dragged from the salon, their curses fading down the corridor. He had not moved. The diary was still pressed to his chest. The magistrate turned to the boy and announced that he would deliver his final ruling at sunrise, in the presence of the entire hacienda. Then the room fell silent. Through the window, the first pale line of dawn touched the horizon. Justin stood alone, waiting for the sun. At sunrise, the entire hacienda gathered in the salon. Servants, Lucia, and the three cousins under guard. The magistrate unrolled the original marriage scroll and read aloud his ruling. The marriage was valid, and Justin was the sole legal heir.
No, this is theft. You'll pay for this, all of you.
The magistrate silenced him with a raised hand and ordered the cousins to vacate the property within 1 hour. A secretary placed the deed transfer document before Justin, along with a quill and ink. Justin dipped the quill and signed his name, the ink spreading like a promise.
Your parents would be so proud, Nino.
The magistrate stamped the document with the hacienda seal, formalizing the transfer.
This isn't over. We have friends. You'll be sorry.
Justin held the signed deed, the weight of the hacienda settling on his young shoulders as the first full sunbeams struck the portrait of Carolyn. The hour was up. A black car with the cousins inside rumbled down the driveway, their curses swallowed by the dust cloud as the gates closed behind them. In the courtyard, the servants gathered around Justin, and Lucia stepped forward, her eyes red but her smile wide.
Welcome home, Patroncito. This house has been waiting for you.
Justin walked alone to the stable. The black drapes still clung to the stalls like shadows refusing to lift. He pulled down the cloth, one panel after another, and sunlight flooded the stall for the first time in weeks. From his satchel, he took a small wooden frame, a miniature portrait of Nicholas and Carolyn, painted in secret years ago. Luz, standing now, lowered her head, and nuzzled his cheek, her breath warm and steady.
We made it, Luz. We're both home now.
From the doorway, Dr. Valdez watched and finally allowed herself a smile. The mare would survive. The hacienda, for the first time since the funeral, felt alive. The days that followed were gentle. The black drapes were gone, and laughter returned to the kitchen and the stables alike. Justin, now dressed in a simple white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, led Luz into the paddock. She followed without a halter. He vaulted onto her back, bareback, his hands gripping her mane. For a moment he just breathed. Then they were flying, hooves pounding the earth, wind flattening the grass. A boy and flatten the nut the cren sledding. A boy and his horse, claiming the land.
This is what you wanted for me, Papa. Not just land, but this.
That evening, a local craftsman arrived with a brass plaque. Justin unwrapped it himself, his fingers tracing the new letters. He mounted it on the iron gate, right over the old family name, and stepped back to read it aloud.
Hacienda de Carolini y Nicolas.
The servants smiled from the courtyard. The new name was not a replacement, but a restoration of the truth. And as the sunset painted the walls gold, for the first time Justin felt the hacienda was truly his and theirs. That evening, Justin took Carolyn's last letter to the ancient oak tree at the edge of the property, Luz following like a shadow. He sat against the gnarled trunk, the paper trembling in his fingers, and began to read, "My dearest Justin, if you are reading this, my plan has succeeded. You have found your way home. I have loved you every day from the moment you were born. Your father Nicholas would be so proud of you. This hacienda is your birthright. Luz is your companion. Keep our memory alive." Justin folded the letter slowly, his throat tight, and pressed it to his heart.
I wish I could have known you both, but at least I know you loved me.
Luz lowered her head and rested it on his shoulder, her white mane brushing his cheek. Together they watched the sun sink behind the hacienda walls, the new plaque catching the final light, and in the quiet, surrounded by the land his parents had loved, Justin finally felt whole. The next morning, Justin rode Luz to a small house where his godmother waited in the doorway. She pressed a worn blue ribbon into his palm, a keepsake from Nicholas's own horse. Justin tied it into Luz's white mane, below her ear, where it fluttered like a promise.
Thank you. I'll keep his memory alive.
Luz stood perfectly still, her dark eyes soft, as if she understood. The blue silk against her white coat was a quiet bridge across the years. Then Justin mounted, and they cantered home, the ribbon trailing in the wind. As they passed the hacienda gate, the new plaque caught the light. Justin glanced back toward the small house, where the godmother was still waving. He smiled, because finally he was riding not just as an heir, but as his father's son. He led Luz through the iron gate, past the brass plaque that bore his parents' names. The avenue of old trees stretched before them, sunset painting the leaves amber. They walked slowly, dust soft under his sandals, her hooves steady on the familiar ground. Behind them, the hacienda stood quiet, the new name catching the final light. Finally, he stopped and looked up, where the first stars were beginning to dimple the deepening blue. Luz rested her head against his shoulder, the blue ribbon stirring in the evening breeze. He recalled the long hunger, the laughter of cousins who were now gone, and the silent testimony of a horse. Loyalty needs no voice, he thought. It only needs a heart that remembers. For 9 days, this mare had guarded a secret, waiting for the one scrap of paper that could right the world. And now she could rest. So they stood, boy and horse, in the last gold of the sun, and the world was whole.